Welcome to ChristTruthReveal, the Unleavened Bible and the Meaning of Life. This is episode 37. We are your hosts, Celeste and the Lion, and I am the Lion.
Hello, listeners. Celeste here. Welcome. Sunday night. You have a couple topic starters, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, kind of where we left off last week. You suggested talking about physical versus spiritual. And then I added, with some inspiration that I had this week of just some ponderings, I added going fishing. Where's the meat? I see Chakra swallow me. A lion reading Celeste masterpiece. Physical and spiritual, or verse spiritual. It's actually very simple. There really is no physical. There's only spiritual. There's only God. We only think we exist. We only exist temporarily. We are filling lamps. And this illusion of physical, it's all energy, rock, water, walls, wood, trees, all are made up of the same thing, the atom. I know that's kind of like, wait a minute, I'm sitting here and I have my arms on a desk and I'm talking to a computer and there's walls around me and everything. But when you sit inside your soul, you realize that everything is just energy and your soul exists everywhere all at once, which is really nowhere. And the physical, it changes, it shifts. It's, we make up time by how we go around the sun, by movement. But everybody only lives up to 100 years, or you shift into eternity, which becomes energy. So basically, there's nothing but God. God is spiritual, which is energy, which is in every atom, which is in everything created, and everything is created by God's imagination and for God's pleasure. Mm. So anyway, physical, if we believe that the physical is real, then that's where we are. And then if we want to argue for that or whatever, and then that's kind of the thing of the desire to manifest heaven on earth or in physical or whatever.
Okay.
Heaven is spiritual. Heaven is spiritual only, and that's where every soul that if you have lamp or oil in your lamp, if your soul is evolving, that is what you will experience in eternity. No matter how many physical existences we have, it will be like nothing compared to the whole of eternity.
It's been interesting how I've been getting presented opportunities to speak into that for people who are struggling, and just hearing how hopeless that can be for people who don't have a relationship, that are in that relationship with God consciousness.
Yes.
It's a little difficult just to not say, and I've been getting a little more courageous and trying to speak into it, and even talking about the podcast and inviting people to listen to it. But it feels on point that we're doing it, because like I said, we're hearing people really struggling with it.
Yes. And that's
really looking for the meaning of life.
Yeah, and when you get that meaning, I mean, still we struggle. Of course, we're human. We are going to struggle. We're still living the life that God has presented. And it's got to have, it doesn't mean I can't be in joy all the time, even if I'm frustrated in everything. And That's the answer. Once you realize that and then start to become the witness of your life, and of course we wake up in the morning and we think, well, okay, so I've got to go do this today, or I'm going to do that, or what shall I do today? But then at the end of the day, we look back and that's exactly what we were to do that day, But to get there, we have to go through it. We have to feel making the choice. We have to feel confusion at times. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're physical, you have to experience that. But when you realize the meaning of life is about your eternal soul and that this is just a temporary existence, then you can live in joy and you can watch yourself be human and experience those things. But know that every step was created. And that was something that came to me, and I think that's for you today, Celeste. When I look back in the sand, I only see one set of footprints. There aren't two sets anymore. The thing of the footprints is, why when I was struggling was there only one set of footprints in the sand? Well, that's because that's where I was carrying you. I'm carried all the time. There is only one set of footprints, and it is God. It's God. And I live in the joy of that and the witness of that. And that's the good news that I would love to share. I mean, that I love to share.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great ministry. I don't want to call it ministry, but when you are able to witness that to other people, it becomes almost like a form of ministry because people are so drawn to it, right?
Yes.
Without anything being said, it's more just about the way you're living your life, and I know that's still true for me at times, but yeah, a bit of a struggle of late.
Yeah, well, the first reaction though, what is that? What is it? What's the first reaction when I tell people that kind of thing? You're freaking crazy.
Yeah.
You are out of your mind.
For me, in the last two encounters where I've got to just kind of accept that, okay, they're asking, so here I go. I talk about my podcast.
Yes, there you go.
And that and that's very purposeful, right? That's God ordering the steps. That's Him bringing people before me that are looking or seeking, and don't know exactly what it is they're seeking.
Yes. Like our friend that said that, said, I've known this my entire life. I just didn't know this. It was this, but it rings true. And so anyway, the physical, just remember, the physical is just a temporary thing. We all know that just from science, right? That every star, every solar system, every galaxy is going to end. The universe may go on forever, but it's going to ever shift. And there's going to be new life, so to speak. But really, the only life is soul. The only life is God. So within us is that soul, that breath that gives us the life. And then these bodies are in existence for an experience. And we've chosen this planet Earth that has the polarities of extreme opposites. And so how can we not go through each day and not feel those opposites unless they balance out, which they are doing right now, possibly. I think that's another thing too, though, about the physical and the spiritual, the energy of it, and what's going on with our solar system, with this planet, because of the human life forms on it, because of the intelligence that we are, the reasoning, the profound experiences that we have, because we ponder, we hate, we love, we fear.
Yeah.
And it's those experiences that make everything real, so to speak. Yeah. So, but what's happening now to us and to this planet, and why evil and good are coming closer together now to a balance. Evil is being eradicated on this planet right now, and it's going to go away for a little while. And I believe the Bible really says that. I believe that that is the truth. But it's not like solar flare energy or the energy that we create to light lights and things like that. It's vibration. It's vibration. It's really subtle. But the vibration at a higher level to a lower level, which we live in a dense level in our bodies, our soul raises our bodies by its experience, which is the lamps being filled with the oil. But it's vibration. It's vibration. It's not something that slams and bangs, but we have a major vibration hitting this planet. Mm. And 2012 may have been significant. It might have been where it actually went into alpha vibration. And we've been in alpha, and that's why we have, it's really a polarized event, because evil has thought. Evil exists with minds in human form. And they're fighting because the light is hitting them, and the light is that vibration. That is what I think is written of in the Bible. And, you know, it's called second coming or rapture or tribulation, things like that. And I think most of those words are made up by us. I don't think they're actually in the Bible. You know.
What about Ascension? Is that a word that's actually?
No, it's not in the Bible. No, okay. It's only demonstrated by Jesus. Yeah. Jesus demonstrated ascension, and why do we know that? Why do I know that? Well, first of all, I know it because I'm in it. I feel it. I've gone to God to be taught. You know, it says in the Bible, go, don't go to man to be taught, go only to God that created us. So I know it by that. But also I know it because in the Bible it says that he disappeared and then he appeared to the disciples in a room. And then he appeared to Paul or to Saul on the road to Damascus, and it describes him as enveloping Saul in light. Yeah. And rumblings of a voice came out and said, "Why do you persecute me?" Yeah. And Saul said, "Who are you?" And he said, it's the one you persecute. It's Jesus. So what did he become? He became energy. He became light. He became expansion. He went into everything. So that's where ascension comes in. But people have called it the rapture and things like that, and which, you know, we'll call it the rapture. Jesus raptured. You know, he resurrected and then he raptured. He had his tribulation and then he raptured. So I believe tribulation is first, and it's a personal thing. When you think about the planet, you're looking at the planet and you're going, well, what about all those other people? Those other people are God's creation. God's got them. Don't worry about them. Love them unconditionally. Evil. I'm hearing a lot of talk about demons. Evil. Jesus is coming back. No, Jesus is not coming back. It's Christ. Christ. He never left.
Interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the arguments against religion often is, you know, why would God let something like this happen? And an example recently given to me was 9/11 and how traumatic that was for young people, especially, you know. And I gave the example of, well, you know, we might think that that's evidence of no God, but the people who perpetrated it did it in the name of God.
Well, of course.
And they did it with a lot of joy because of all the provision that was going to come to them with, you know, getting 9 virgins or whatever it is for, you know, being a martyr.
Yeah, 73 virgins actually. Come on, man, you're way up. Hey, don't rob them of that. Don't take away their
So,
words,
and
man.
I don't think it was a very persuasive argument,
Yeah.
but it did open their mind a little bit. And that's really all.
Well, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only intention of using that example, because I feel like there was a lot of trauma for a lot of people around that incident, and I know
Oh,
people
yeah.
who lost. High school friend who lost her husband in that, and my own cousin was fleeing the towers falling. So
Yes. Yes. But
it's a very traumatic and tragic event. Um, and
yes.
it's not.
And
I don't know how. I guess the thing that I would challenge is, like, how could that have been for God's pleasure? Maybe in the way that people respond, right? And when they're able to respond courageously and, right, showing how God's power was manifest through them and their ability to overcome. It's a hard answer for people who are still struggling with the trauma of it, or
well,
haven't experienced overcoming.
right. And
Because there's a lot of people. The people I talk to are my age, right, and they feel like they've
right.
been carrying this burden for a long time. Like, right, it's geez, I want to retire and I can't, right, and they're just feeling really.
Yes, and when you put it in, if when somebody can think, and again, when I'm, if I'm discussing something with somebody,
Right.
I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything.
Persuade or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just telling them what I know. What I know for me. And they can say it's my truth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you think of it from the eternal soul lens, okay, then does that really exist? Does that stuff really exist? I mean, from an eternal's perspective, does the last 21 years really, or last 20 years, have any significance in eternity? No. The only significance it has is how much oil got beaten into the lamp from that olive. What a blessing. What a blessing that the olive be beaten, that the lamp burn forever. What is the lamp? It's the soul in a body that it resurrects to ascend, to rapture, to go into the seventh heaven, to be light, to be energy, to be pure, unconditional love. So in talking about those things, what would unconditional love do in all those situations? And I'm not saying for anybody, and I even to like chuckle like that. I know I feel everyone. I know what you feel. But in 100 years, it'll be over. But also, I know that I've had many existences. I know I've had many, 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 many traumas. I've had traumas in this lifetime, but they're behind me. Maybe there's more coming. I don't know, whatever. But they're behind me. And it's only if I live them, relive them over and over and over is when it carries with me. But does it carry with God, with eternal, unconditional love, with infinite patience? No. What it did is it gave a soul energy that expands God, that creates many more of the one, many of one. God has created from one many, 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 and it's endless. It's endless. You can sit in meditation. You can sit with your soul. You can feel everything in existence. Everything in existence, but you won't care when you sit in there about physical existence. You'll love it that it brought you to that place of eternal rapture, eternal life in energy, in life of consciousness, pure consciousness.
Just one little atom in the sea, right?
Yes, and that atom, though, it's going to change. It's a tree, and then that tree falls down. That tree turns into dust. That atom still exists, but now it's dust. But it only exists as long as there is some reason for it to exist. As long as there's a planet. But what happens when the sun dies? Our sun dies. What happens when this earth dies? All that stuff, well, it sits out there like Mars, maybe, but when the sun dies, everything dies. When the central sun of this galaxy dies, or if this galaxy collides with another galaxy, you know, existence that we know as physical is just one instant away from being gone, being devastated. But will our soul die? No.
Yeah.
Our soul will never die. The only souls that die are the ones that aren't evolving. They're just a gift for us to exist one time. They get thrown into Gehenna, which is a place, I don't know how people say it now, but I remember it being that it was a place where they threw their trash. The fire burned because trash was constantly going into it. But the body, the soul in that body that is not an individual, it's just in a body to exist by DNA. It goes back to to the substance of God. When we ascend like Jesus did with our brain and our heart, we become the experience of God, of pure unconditional love, of infinite patience.
Yeah.
It just,
really only takes one experience of that meditation to really understand why we say it's really life changing, really grounding, really affirming in terms of now you know that what you know. Now you know that there
mm-hmm.
is eternal life. You won't question that, because like I said, and having that conversation with someone, I mentioned, well, but that's just the body, right? Our souls are eternal, and the comment back was, God, I hope so.
Well, yeah.
So you're right. There's a way to have confirmation. There's a way to
yes.
kind of experience that now.
Yes.
Heaven doesn't have to wait, right? Heaven can wait. No, heaven doesn't have to wait.
Yes, and for new listeners, what we're talking about, well, shoot, now I forgot.
Just the eternal soul, just that whole idea of eternal soul is really kind of the main takeaway.
Oh, yeah, what we're talking about is to learn to meditate. In Psalms, David talks if you search meditation in Psalm or in the Bible, David talks about meditation, about his meditation. He's meditating with God. So I was taught how to meditate, changed my life. It got me to where I am now. I teach people how to meditate. I've taught hundreds. Now, yeah, there are people that I do that with or have done that with that have forgotten it. But if I would get with them and remind them of that, which actually just happened last weekend, remind them of that, it's like, wow, yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, wow, yeah, I get it,
Mm-hmm.
And well, what we're talking about is that Jesus said the kingdom is within. I know people get caught up on Jesus said the kingdom is at hand, and then they put together, well, that's the end of the age, and that's when the earth is going to have this thing. Forget about that. Forget about the earth. It doesn't matter what the earth is going to do. It matters what you are doing. He said the kingdom is within. He said we are joint heirs. We can do the things that he did and greater. And what is the greater? He became a God in light. God expanded self through Jesus, through Christ. Consciousness said, go within, seek God. When you're looking outside for an old man sitting in a chair, if you think it's like Michelangelo painted, you don't get it. I'm telling you straight up, you don't get it. you've got to go in, you've got to, which is kind of where the title goes on the rest of that. You've got to go fishing. Got to go fishing. What do I mean by that? Well, what was in the basket that Jesus fed fed those 5,000 people with, and then had 12 baskets left over? What, 12, right? 12 baskets, I think. It was 2 fish and 5 loaves. What those represent is the 7 churches, the 7 candles, the 7 angels, or whatever else 7 it calls it. The 2 fish are the 2 chakras at the top of the head and the forehead. It's chakras. The third eye, you open up to the top of the mountain, which is Moses' representation, where he met the burning bush, which is his soul. Said, I am an angel of the Lord, an angel of the law. And said, I am that I am. That's what my soul says. That's what my soul says. That's what your soul says. That's what everybody's soul that has an evolving soul says right now. Tell the people, I am that I am. I am that I am. So the 2 fish represent the meat, which in the Bible it says we were taken to the upper rooms and we were fed the meat. What does the fish swim in? It swims in the sea. What swallowed Jonah? A fish. People say, oh, what kind of fish could that have been? Maybe it was a whale. Maybe it wasn't a fish like that. It was symbolic. It was his crown chakra swallowing him in Christ. That's what it was. The fish represents Christ, the meat, the understanding of the meaning of life. Swims in the sea. It's chakra. The chakra swallows us. What were the 5 loaves in there? The throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plex chakra, the gut chakra, the root chakra. 5 loaves. Those loaves were leavened loaves. They represented the physical life of the body. So don't discount chakras. Don't discount the understanding when it says the 7 angels or the 7 churches or the 7 candles. It's talking about your main chakras, the 7 in your body. And then there's one above your body. If you take a little crystal pendulum and put it 12 inches above your head, you will find a chakra there. It will spin. That's God. That's where God exists. That's where we all exist. Believe it or not, and don't believe me, go within with a seed of faith that is possible and ask God yourself, and God will show you. If you're not ready, God will ease you or cause you to have more passion to find out. But you will get the answers. Ask, you will receive. It's not shall anymore. It's will right now, because we are in alpha consciousness that Jesus was in while he walked on this earth before he ascended to the 7th heaven, which was theta consciousness, vibration, theta consciousness, which is red, which is the blood of Christ, Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness came on Jesus like a dove when he came up out of the water after being baptized. And then he had to go into the wilderness and he had to tame his ego. He had to retrain. That's what the wilderness was. There was no devil. It was his ego saying, we can rule the earth or the world. Why didn't he come out and heal everything and make everything peaceful? No, he came out and he said, there will be roars and rumors of wars, and there will be pestilence, and there will be natural disasters in diverse places. And these things must come to pass. And then so at the beginning, we're talking about the the twin, 9/11, and the effect that it had on human beings. These things must come to pass because we are spiritual. We are spirit. We are to be brought to the understanding to look up within ourselves and go and see the burning bush on the top of our mountain, which is on the crown of our head.
Really relates to people, the ability to, just kind of even visualization as a form of meditation, just that idea of going within, seeing the outcome you want to manifest, and then just making it happen, and then just executing on it. People really resonate with that idea as well.
Yes, yes,
So
and
I think we've been saying it a lot, that right. People are vibrating at a higher level, so it's starting to resonate. People are starting to say, "Oh, this mindfulness thing might be important," because
yes.
they've had all this extra time and COVID and
And what I would say is surrender. That's what I would be passionate about. That's what I am passionate about, is surrendering. I've surrendered to God. That's why when I look back in the sand, there's only one set of footprints. It's only God's. This person doesn't exist. It's only God that exists. God just gets to also ride along in it and be a part of it and have the experience of those things. But like you're saying, where get something into your mind and then work for that. Well, you're like I know in my life where I'm going one way and I have a plan to do something, and then I have something pop up and it changes my direction.
right.
And then I realize, wow, that's much better.
Yeah.
So always be open for that, and I guess that's why thank you for bringing that up, because it's about surrender. It's about witnessing. And it talks about witnessing in the Bible, just witness, because these things must come to pass. Whether the planet does anything or not, what my life is going to do, what your life is going to do, what everybody's life is going to do must come to pass. And we're all different. In the end, we're going to be individuals. We're going to be like in that throne room in Revelation 4, there's a sardine stone and another red stone. They're both red stones, which is the blood of Christ, which is theta consciousness. But there's two stones there. We are going to be a separate stone. It says in the Bible, you'll be given a name written in stone. Stone. Remember that, stone. Why did he call Peter, or why did he call Simon Peter? Peter means stone. He said, I'm going to build my church on you. He's going to build his church on stone. Well, the stone isn't going to be physical anymore. The church is being built in heaven now. And all anyone has to do, well, first of all, you got to have enough experience. There's nothing wrong with not having it. If you don't have a full lamp, the door is closed. What's the door? It's the eye. It's the third eye. It's the forehead chakra. If you don't have a full lamp of oil, that door is closed, so you can't go into the throne room. You can't go into heaven. When you do get your lamp full of oil, that opens up and the door opens and you go in, because you hear the call of the bridegroom. But it's already made. You're already there. Go into meditation, feel your soul. You'll feel that you've already made it. You've already done it. Somewhere in some existence, you raptured with your brain and your soul. It's done. Jesus wasn't the only one. Many before him, many after. They just don't do it publicly. He did it publicly because of what's been going on for the last 2,000 years. Jesus is coming back. Jesus is coming back. There's going to be a rapture. Jesus said, when I go to the Father, I will send a comforter. He wasn't saying in 2,000 years. He was saying right then. And he was talking about when you realize Christ in yourself, when that dove comes down on you, the child that in whom God is well pleased, then it goes to the Father. Christ is coming from, it's from the Father. The Comforter is that dove. It's Christ consciousness. It's understanding God. It's understanding the meaning of life. I'm feeling really passionate tonight, Celeste.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I guess you and I are kind of
Yep.
We always have to do something that's a little bit different, right?
Yep.
Kind of opposite at the time. But trying to lift you up too, brother.
No, it's great to hear again. It's great to be reminded, and just continue, with my own understanding, developing it and retraining it, and then sharing it as well. Because, like I said,
Yeah.
I've been getting opportunities. It was really super cool opportunity when someone mentioned to me, well, I know that I've lived multiple lives. Does that freak you out? I'm like, no, not at all, because now I can talk to you about this, the reality of that. And it's really a fun conversation with somebody I never expected, somebody that I totally respect and wanted to, not out myself out of, conservative, just being cautiously conservative.
Yes. Well,
I think that's fair to do. I think.
Well, you're ordered
at times. At times, it's fair to do. Trying to run a business at the same time, right?
Yeah. But when Jesus said, "Don't cast your pearls about the swine," he was talking about don't just share your wisdom with everybody and anybody, because they'll turn on you and they will try to tear you to pieces. And I tell you what, I know that firsthand. They will. You got to, you wait till the door is open, and I know that's what you do. The door opens, and what do? You step in it, right? You go full force.
Sometimes I just have to jam my foot in the door so they don't slam it on
me. Yeah, I don't know. My foot, I couldn't handle that anymore. I quit doing that. That's why Jesus said, if you go into their home, you give it peace, and if it doesn't receive the peace, dust off your feet and put on your sandals and walk away. Because they are going to get there too. It just maybe they're brand new. Maybe they have many more times. But I want to say, that with all that's going on and stuff, I know there's a lot of people that mentally are giving up. Are just like, I'm done with this. I can't handle this.
A lot of loss of hope right now, for sure.
Yeah, and the reason that is so more magnified is because of the energy, the vibration that this planet is experiencing. But if you give up like that, and you die from if you leave your body, then you're going to do it again. So I just I feel the need to impress that if you leave your body, okay, you're going to go to paradise, right? You're going to be in paradise, but you're going to have to go get another body, and you're going to have to probably come back to the earth again. I don't know, maybe you can go somewhere else that's simpler, but you don't want simple when you're not in this body. Your soul wants to ride this roller coaster. It's going to come back, and you're going to do it again. But if you have the lamp full of oil, you can be hung on a cross, get stabbed in the side, thrown into a tomb, and in 3 days you can resurrect, and then you can rapture. That's the whole point, to keep your brain and your heart. So please, I just want to impress anybody that it feels like they're giving up. Rejoice in God, and that God created this, and that these things must come to pass, and that it really is bringing God pleasure. because you're eternal. You're going to live eternal. Find out if you have a full lamp. Find out if your lamp is almost full. Find out how much more, you need. You can find that out. But if you have a full lamp, there's no turning back anyway. But to save, that depression, that
Yeah.
that
Angst,
challenge is to just,
suicidality.
feel the joy that there is a God, that God is in full control, that God created everything. And when it was created, it was done because it's Alpha and Omega. There is no time or space. It's spirit. Spirit is the only thing that exists. We're already done. We're done. 9/11 wasn't a mistake. It was already done. It was what God created for God's manifestation of to experience itself and herself. God is yin and yang. But God wanted to experience self. How does God do that? It evolves souls that were created to be able to live for eternity in consciousness of that perfection, of that magnificence, of unconditional love, of infinite patience. When you become infinitely patient, time stops. It stops. There is no time. Jesus became infinitely patient, unconditionally loving, because he threw the money changers out of the temple. But what's the temple? The temple was his body, right? So what was the money changers? It was the ego in his body. Again, he had to go to the wilderness to tame his ego, but he still had to throw the money changer part out of his temple. And if you don't believe me on that, go into the Bible. He says this temple will be torn down, and in 3 days it will be raised again. And it says he was talking about his body. We're joint heirs. Believe on him and what he did, and we will do those things and greater. We are in temples. Raise your temple. Raise up to the top of your temple. Go ye not to any man to be taught, lest ye be deceived. Why does it say deceived a few times in the Bible? Because that's what this world is made of. It's made of deception. Why did Jesus say, many will come in my name and say that I'm Christ, and they will deceive many? Because he's talking about what's going on right now with what is called the Christian church and other religions that aren't teaching you that God is within you, that you are soul, that Christ is God's child within you. It's not Jesus that's coming to save us and rule. We don't need kings. All we need is me. All you need is you. And all we need is love.
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 Love is all we need.
And when you feel like you're going to get depressed, find something to laugh at. Laughter is the way to true love, which was said in the movie Michael. You got to learn to laugh. Laughter is the way to true love. It will change your life when you can laugh with everything that you do. When you do something stupid, you can laugh at yourself. And I laugh at myself. You idiot. You learn to laugh. Find that love. But stop believing that you're a stepchild, that you're unworthy, because you are not. You are not. There is no such thing. Only in our belief, and that's only a temporary belief. And if you believe that, then that's got what God wants you to believe. But if you get the seed of faith that says, wow, okay, there's a possibility that this is real. Look up in yourself with that seed of faith and go forth. Go forth. Go forth with God within yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else does from that point on. If you think you can't do it because the world isn't doing it, okay, argue for your limitation and you get to have it. Stay there. Go ahead. There's no mistake in that. It's perfect. Do not judge it. Do not judge, because you will be judged at whatever measure ye meet. When we judge ourselves. The judgment that people are talking about, that you're going to be judged. God is coming for the judgment. Well, God is pure love. If your soul is hateful, fearful, and it leaves this body, the judgment is that it can't enter that pure love. So it becomes a ghost and it runs around on the earth, and you can see them sometimes. They're stuck, but they're just younger souls. They'll eventually return to love. Nothing will exist in a place called hell forever. Never, not even close. In human time, it could be hundreds of years, but it's going to end, because everything will return to that from which it came, and everything came from love.
Yeah. I actually had a moment earlier this week where, just out of self-care, I needed to get into the ocean and get restored in my green pastures of kelp. And so I'm surfing, and I noticed
Yeah.
a family on the cliffs, because there's some tide pools along the reef where I paddle out, and I saw like five people, kind of traditional Indian garb, and then I noticed a bag in their hand, and I noticed them untying the bag, and then I saw a box come out, and I'm like, oh shit, these guys are gonna dump some human remains, right?
Oh.
It's gonna float right over at me, and I started to be a little bit judgmental about it. I was looking up at the top of the hill to see if the ranger was in the station. I could probably get out and stop this if I really was motivated, and I just let it happen. Eventually I was just like, well, ashes, that's the dust.
Yeah.
As soon as it hits the water, it's part of everything and everything anyway. So
Yeah. Becomes part of the sea. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting to have to kind of check myself before I interrupted probably something very sacred for them.
Yeah. Well, good catch. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Because I mean, there's nothing it can do to you.
Well, and that's fear. At first there was some fear that I could, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And then again, there you are. Still human.
A drop in the sea, really, right? I mean, it's such a big sea.
Yeah. Yep. And then you surfed right over it.
For quite a while.
Yes. Great representation. Celeste literally surfs in the sea. The sea in the Bible represents God energy, the energy of God. When Jesus went out on the boat after speaking to the people on the shore, something rattled him, and it's actually a parable. They went out to sea, so he went into meditation to try to calm himself, because he was having some issues with the drainage from the people, and there was a storm. He had an emotional event. It was his emotional event. And then he calmed the storm. When it says he walked on the sea, he calmed the storm. It's because he got his emotional state back. He came back, like Celeste was talking about, having that emotional challenge at the time, and then realizing, wait a minute, there's really nothing to be afraid of. Yes, it's all good. See, things just so perfect. Perfect per vision. Provision, provision.
God saw it all along. He ordered those steps, and
prevision. Yeah. So how did Jesus? How did he tell the future? Because he existed in everywhere all at once. He existed in God. He knew God's plan for everything. He didn't cry about the planet that it was going to have these challenges, because he knew that we were all going to join him. He knew that we grow faster on this planet than any other being in this universe, as far as I feel or know. This is the wanted place. This is the place where everybody wants to be. That's why there's 8 billion souls on this planet, and almost 8 billion humans. That's not counting all the other consciousness on this planet. Animal, plants, reptiles, all those things. And there's people that believe there's aliens here, reptilians, all those kind of things. Them too. They're all created of God. They are of the same God, the same creation. We are all intermingling. We are all in communion with existence. There aren't good and bad. There's only God, and there's only creation, and it is only temporary. But I guarantee you're going to get to heaven, and you're going to be eternal, and you are going to be a part of creating everything. And you'll probably give birth to little babies of your own, little souls of your own. So you can have more oil beaten, so your lamp can continue to overflow, and then you create a new existence, a new life that will grow to have a full lamp of oil, and that will ascend or rapture as Jesus did, as we will, and we all do. Ascending souls.
You want to speed up that beating of olives, have kids. That'll do
it. Yeah.
Said every parent.
Yes.
Who's Christ conscious.
Yes, for sure, man. That is the greatest thing, just because of the the protectiveness, the the desire for them to be better, and trying to forget that they belong to God. I mean, not to forget that they belong to God, and they will make their own choices. They don't belong to us. They only belong to us as long as the law says they do.
They belong to us for the express purpose of retraining eternal patience and
right on
perfect love.
Yes, that and loving unconditionally.
Perfect love.
Oh man, God, see, we get a taste of that. There's people that don't have children in this life. There's many that want them. There's many that choose not to, but you've had them. You have in other lifetimes. Trust me, or you will, if you're a new soul. But if you're a new soul, I doubt you're listening to this. But people say, well, I want that perfect love in this life. It's like that's all that exists. But you probably have had plenty of it, plenty partners. Maybe your soulmates, maybe your twin flame in many lifetimes, maybe one lifetime. And I forgot to acknowledge Giraffe Heart said in the chat, discernment. Yes, discernment. Discernment, and this little seed of faith. Go in and ask God to help you with discernment. If something happened, it was perfect. It was meant to be. And that's not to, disregard people's emotional states and everything. I totally have passion for that, and, and empathy. But I also know that that's growing them, that's helping their soul, their eternal soul, evolve and grow. So it's bittersweet. It's that bittersweet thing. And this information that we're sharing in this podcast of the unleavened Bible, the little book, it's talked about in Revelation. Eat it up. It'll be bitter to your belly, which is bitter to your ego, to your human, to your thinking that you're the center of the universe, but it'll be sweet as honey in your mouth, because it will reveal your soul. It will reveal your soul, and you can
It
know
does.
your soul.
It does feel sweet to share it when you get, like I've been expressing, right? Getting these
Yes,
opportunities and just seeing God's provision and how these people were brought into my life, and now being able to share with them about that, right? It was,
yes,
you
yes,
start to see how, if our steps were ordered, that these steps are finally catching up to that future that He'd already predicted for us.
yes. And
Making
Jesus
sense of
said,
these relationships that really did make a lot of
yeah,
sense initially.
yeah, yeah. And Jesus said, share the gospel with the world. Well, you can't help but do that, right? I mean, when when you have the
It's
good news and you feel the love, you can't help but share.
not
You,
optional.
yeah,
Because it just becomes so in your face. It's like, right, when they pose a
yeah,
question like that, or right, open with like, how do you feel about tarot cards? Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
Now we can talk about like God created everything.
yes,
Doesn't mean including tarot cards, right?
yes, yeah. Well, it
That's
depends on who's using it, right? And it's not evil by itself, by just being. If it's
exactly.
used for evil, it's evil. If it's used for good, it's good. It depends on who's using it. I've never used Ouija boards, so I don't know about that at all. But um, they say Ouija boards you connect with disincarnate spirits, which are like earthbound souls that haven't figured out where the love is and where the paradise is yet.
Mm.
So I guess I want to bring up the parable of the rich man and Lazarus again to explain that. Rich man and Lazarus. The rich man kept passing up Lazarus as he was sitting on the street, a poor, desolate man that was begging. The rich man was rich, you just get out of here. And so when they both died, or and I don't like to use the word die in life for physical stuff anymore, because the only life is the soul and it's eternal. But anyway, when they left their bodies, well, the poor man went to paradise, where Jesus told the person next to him that he would be in paradise that day. He went to paradise. He was what was called the bosom of Abraham. Where was the rich man? The rich man was there too. But for him, it wasn't paradise. And Lazarus couldn't touch him because he was stuck in a lower density, a lower vibration. He was touching his tongue or whatever, like he was thirsty. Well, water represents God's energy. He was lacking God's energy because he was a new soul, a young soul. So it's right there. It's in the Bible, but you've got to be taught by God in order to see the parables, to get the puzzle pieces and put them together, to realize that the Bible really is a very small little book, like it says in Revelation. Get rid of everything that has to do with human, with physical life, with the earth, with the universe, with whatever. Get rid of all that stuff and you'll find the little book. You'll find the one that tells you that you are an eternal soul, that you're going to live forever, that you will experience things that are challenging, but all you have to do is go within. It's there. It's being mistaught because through tradition, the word is made of non effect. In the Bible, it says that. It says that for a reason. It says, go, don't go to men to be taught. Go only to God that created us. God is alive. People, they believe in God and they believe in Jesus and all that stuff. But then when it comes to that God is in control, that gets lost. It's like, no, I got to go stop that. I've got to go do that. God's not in control. No, God controls it all. There isn't one little thing that God doesn't control. God said, when a sparrow falls, I know it. Yeah. Every little aspect, every insect, everything, God is in it. in it. Wow.
Amen.
I love this feeling. I just love the feeling of this body gets to be one, gets to have one set of footprints, gets to listen, gets to have parts of this, the heart and the mind listen to the soul speak. It's so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And bring up these meanings of like the two fish and the five loaves, and and there's so many different things to reveal. It's such a wonderful trip.
Yes.
Very, very wonderful. Shall I do a reading?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll just introduce the piece, and I'm really honored that you want to read it.
Thank you.
The reason I wanted to write this was because I was really searching for a way to just feel better physically, in my body, just because I felt like my body's becoming a distraction, and I wanted some help around, kind of getting right with the God in me, right? By taking care of my temple so that I can be more effective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the title is, the word reads healthy self, but I like alliteration, and I think that's the beauty of spoken word poetry is you can create new meanings out of familiar words. And so instead of healthy self, I want people to consider that it means heal thyself.
Amen.
Because we need to take care of our temples if we want to be an effective witness. It's hard to sustain joy in hardship if you're not, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally fit. And so, basic healthy lifestyle habits are going to form that. And, I think we know pretty much it's pretty easy nowadays to find ways to get healthy and find support for that. The way I came about this was just somebody I worked with was becoming a personal life coach, but needed hours with, clients to be able to get the certification. So he's willing to work with me and challenged me to, he knew that I had written some other things, and he said, well, why don't you, do this assignment as a spoken word piece, and you can share it with me. And so that was the origin of it. And yeah, I feel like I wrote it probably back in December, and then, touched it up a little bit in the last few weeks after not really doing anything with it. It's not been read live before. It's not been posted on any websites or anything. And the only other person that's heard this was my life coach, Coach Peter. Isn't that funny? His name's Peter.
Yeah.
And he's just a really good dude. So
Written with stone.
mm-hmm. So yeah, honored that you feel it's a masterpiece. I'll accept that because God is my master, and I wrote it for all of us to kind of find that path back to healing thyself.
Very well.
And if you want more of that, then keep listening and check into all the episodes if you want, especially episode 20. And if you're still not feeling like you're getting there and healing thyself, then ask for help, and you can call in, and we'd be happy to do that.
Very good. Yes. We okay. And then real quick, if you're on the Podbean app, they apparently have pop-ups that will ask for gifts for us, or to follow us or whatever. We do not. That is not from us. We do not take gifts. This is free information. It is our honor to share, and God is providing the way. So do not disregard those pop-ups. We do not take it. Anybody that came in late, if you want to hear this from the beginning, I will have this published sometime tonight. So tomorrow it'll be published. It'll go over to YouTube. It'll have closed caption for people that like to read with the thing. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So again, don't disregard any pop-ups that ask for gifts. We do not take gifts. This is free. It's not about that. It's about sharing. So I will probably publish this poem. To me, I love it. It's magnificent. I love it, love it, love it. And I am honored to read it. And it is called Heal Thyself by Celeste. And a lion's reading. Heal thyself. If this prayer for a nation, heal thyself, was adopted as a mantra, our work would reflect this perfect station. Yet self-will run riot in the name of profit, pronounced our persona as non grata. Heal thyself. Mindful meditation, connections transpires. Joyful expressions of excellence collide. Fulfills our greatest heart's desires for the Creator God inside. Heal thyself. Determined to uphold the poor with courtesy and consideration. Universal provision is in all things when we follow good, orderly direction. Heal thyself. Only Alpha Omega could have chosen the way in which we each are taught. Life lessons wrapped in bandages, bills, and mystery. Circumstantial conditions seem to never stop. Yet, our steadfast love as a kindly servant stretches our character and grows a resolve to know, reveals a richer inner meaning, much deeper than we thought. Heal thyself. Borders locked, economic closures, supply but not demands came full stop. We shelter in place while masks slip on our face. That COVID gone viral, fractionally more than denial, just served to thicken the plot. Heal thyself. A time such as this to retrain and learn how to want what we have. Wait, is that all that you got? Heal thyself. As the green light finally comes to go forth, will you hesitate or fall? Far fewer are chosen than those who get the call. Heal thyself. The answer depends upon our heart. Is it oriented towards what is kind? The omniscient Creator, eternal one, present with and in us all. awaits a personal invitation, a greeting, and a meeting of the heart, soul, and mind. Heal thyself. Truth is now you may choose to stop evading. Inside us, be reconciled. Perfect provision is persuading. Heal thyself. Suddenly, all at one, whole-eyed, hallelujah, into me I see. I am Christ conscious of my right useness for eternity. Religion's just a distraction. We've already been set free. Heal thyself. The end.
Wow, thank you for reading that. Really,
Oh,
it really
thanks
hits
for
you at a different register. You know, writing it, rewriting it. 100 edits, whatever, right?
Yeah, and then my interpretation.
And then you hear it in somebody else's voice, and it really kind of impacts your sensory system in a different way.
Yes.
It's a whole body feeling, like you said, like you kept saying. I feel how you wrote this. I really felt how you read that.
Yes, that was an honor, and I am going to post a copy of that separately with these, so it will be on Podbean tonight and on YouTube tomorrow. Yes, to me it is a masterpiece. Celeste is our resident poet with a unique and wonderful style, and I love it. And shout out, Celeste. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like it was really time to kind of put it out to the universe and to, any soul that's struggling, because, the green lights come, right? Tuesday for us here in the West Coast, in California at least, full green light. So people are going to think that, now I can have my perfect life, now that everything's open again. But they will soon find that that wasn't the training. That wasn't the training that they were supposed to be getting.
Yes, and yeah, no mistake in its timing.
No mistakes.
No the timing was
no
perfect.
mistakes.
So anyway, just do not believe anything that we say. We're sharing our good news. I believe it to be the truth of the meaning of life. And all I say is now go to God and find your own truth, or actually find the truth within yourself. Within yourself. God is the only pastor, the only minister, the only priest. So anyway, thank you for letting me share my passion tonight. I was overflowing with it today and for actually a week still. Last weekend was wonderful. And so we'll end it with that, right?
Yeah. Great connecting. And thanks for all the listeners. Yeah, feel free to call in next time if you feel there's anything being spoken to that stirs something up inside of you, and you want some feedback on how we're thinking about things and how we got led into those paths. Then feel free to start the conversation with us. Always welcome the call-ins.
Yes, I know that's not an easy thing to ask for, but the call in, you can just share anything you want. You can beat us up. You can do whatever you want. It's okay. And that is a gift actually that we will
Yeah.
accept.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay,
So,
Lion. Thanks again.
okay.
Much love.
Yes. And
Heal
thank you
thyself.
for